back to another episode of Africans Talk Football TV. Just want to introduce everybody. How y'all feeling tonight? How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Doing
Very
well.
good, man.
Great, man. Just another beautiful day here, talking about football. But we have a very special guest here, president and part owner of the Maryland Bobcats FC. We have Jay Saba. We actually talked to one of your players and coaches, Abdul Duke.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
that's kind of how we have a little bit of a connection there, but. Honestly, Duke, when we did our interview a few months ago, he spoke very highly of the club. And then we saw that you followed us on social media once we posted his interview, and we've kind of just been following the club kind of as a podcast, as a band of brothers. And we just wanted to first and foremost congratulate you on a great season. And obviously our podcast is called Africans Talk Football, so we want to highlight African Americans in the sport. Specifically Africans, though, is me being first generation, my parents born there. There's a lot of stories that we know just growing up through our family and friends of people that have made it, people that have almost made it, people that are close to making it and on their grind there now. So to see someone like you who's not just made it as an athlete, but made it on the business and professional side, like when you read, when we knew we had this interview, I was really excited. You actually had an interview with the Maryland Bobcats. You have like fan group out there in Maryland who I think they have a supporters club for you guys.
Correct.
They've done a few podcasts. So I was able to get a little bit of information there. So I kind of just want to start with your background, because I know you're Nigerian. I know you grew up in Nigeria and then you came to the US for school. So I kind of want to start in college. First and foremost, where in Nigeria do you grow up? And then graduating from high school, your parents are saying, okay, we want to send you to the States to get an education. Why did you choose Maryland? Why did you choose that school? And how did you even get a connection there to start?
Got you. Man, thank you guys for having me, man. Thank you for reaching out to have me jump on your podcast. I'm very grateful for that. I'm a Lagos boy, man. I grew up in the city. So I'm from Lagos, so I was a little bit rough growing up, right? Play soccer on the street barefooted and, go across and things like that. Just rugged. Actually, my parents have been here like for years. My dad got here in 1983. My mom got here in 1985, pretty much. So basically, while I was in high school growing up, in high school, I used to come here for vacation and go back home to finish, high school. So the goal was for me to come here once, it's time for me to go to college. So after I was done with high school, I came in to come fully for college in 2005.
Okay.
Started with PGCC because that's where I spent most of my time. I went to Prince George's County. That's where my parents live right now still. Okay. And after that, did 2 years there. And I just didn't want to stay close to home, right? Because my parents' College Park is right there. I could have gone to College Park, but I chose to go to UMBC, which I thought was still a little bit, further away, about 45 to, it's still far away from home. And then I just didn't want to be close to home. So after doing that, I met my connections, met my friends there. Some of them also were, UMBC is very diverse. So then when we graduated, we were playing soccer. We loved playing soccer, right? So we just wanted to keep fit. And, because once you graduate now, you're not going to be able to see each other on a consistent basis anymore.
Absolutely.
So we decided to join like a local league in Baltimore where we all just link up and literally just play soccer and things like that and catch up every Sundays. After we play, we go hang out and things like that. So that became a thing. We did that for years, but as time went on, then we started realizing that the DMV is so big with players, and especially is also very diverse. But we noticed that the opportunity is not that there, right? There's less opportunity, and that's why we started taking it a lot more seriously as a group. Yeah.
So explain that, because it sounds like from what I did my homework on, you're on the club team. Some of these club team guys you wanted to keep in contact with, so you guys start playing Sunday League in Maryland. But this is like what, the Maryland Major Soccer League? So is this
Correct.
so are they affiliated with the U.S. Soccer League as well?
Yeah, they're under the it's an amateur league. It's under the USSA. So it's an
Okay.
Okay.
amateur league. So it's every Sundays. So we just play there Sundays and things like that, and then just to keep fit and keep in touch.
So
Pretty
this
much.
is so this is the part I didn't really get when I was doing my homework. Were you guys like you guys must have been good because it
Oh
sounds
yeah,
like you know what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
tell me about the
yeah,
team. You know,
yeah, yeah,
so these
yeah,
are
yeah.
college kids, but then you guys are becoming young professionals, but you still want to play on Sundays. So you have your
Correct,
9 to 5s. You're playing on
correct.
Sundays, and when is this? The mid 2000s, 2010,
Yeah,
around
I'll
that
say
time,
about 2008,
2008.
2008, 2009. Yep, 2010.
So right before the turn of the decade, kind of tell
Correct.
me what the Maryland soccer landscape looks like, right before 2010, because at that point I'm still in middle school, I'm still in high school, so
Oh, correct.
I can
Yeah.
remember who I saw, playing for U.S. soccer, but as far as like, being 18, 19, 20, 21, what was Maryland soccer like, and how were you guys in the competition and moving forward?
Yeah, I mean the soccer landscape is like they have a bunch of very good and talented amateur teams, right? And I mean we were
Yeah.
pretty good too. So we were just again we didn't want to take it seriously, right? But it
Hmm.
was fun to play because it was eye level. I think Maryland Majors then was practically the best amateur league in the
Okay.
DMV at
Okay.
that
Mm,
time.
okay.
So they were very competitive. I mean, you have clubs like I think the base, Maryland base in it. You have the I think also switched to Baltimore Coach. You have J Raiders, Platinum Kickers, Vibes. So like you have some solid, eye level teams there.
Okay.
And I think yeah, even teams in there as one they won the national amateur, the trophy that
Yeah.
those couple of years
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So they were pretty good. And we were pretty good too, and it was just fun for us. We were not taking it seriously. It was just for us to be able to keep in touch, keep going with our friendship and things like that. And some of those guys now live all across the country. Jobs have taken them to several places, to San Francisco, to Houston, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Okay. So how did your, being a Nigerian immigrant, what kind of challenges did you have, coming up in the soccer Maryland landscape, and how did they kind of shape what you wanted to promote moving forward, and kind of how they shape the whole landscape of what would become Maryland Bobcats FC?
For me, it was tough, man. And when people talk about systemic racism, it does exist.
Mm.
And systemic racism doesn't just exist. I would say uh, just it happens even with the littlest thing that you're
Just
not even paying
slight.
attention
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was amazing when I got right now start getting into detail into the soccer system as a whole.
Hmm.
For you to be able to now see it for yourself, like, okay, we really do not have a chance. I'm sorry, and I
Mm.
still think people still don't get it. Like our people still don't get it. There's so many things you can get yourself into apart from playing soccer itself, right? Are we educating ourselves about the game in management role? Are we educating ourselves in terms of the coaching credentials? How do you know these things, right? But you can't know these things if you're not in it, if you don't
Right.
understand the system and how it works. So
Hmm.
for me back then, again, we had to get to a point where we're now very comfortable, right? And we're able to do it financially. And you have to have a lot of people who are self-serving people, and they are willing to sacrifice, because not a lot of people are self-serving. A lot of people think more about self, but I'm thinking more about building myself a legacy, that in the future, should my kids need some kind of assistance, they will know what kind of legacy their father left behind. Money is nothing to me. And a lot of people just look at money. Oh, I don't want to lose this amount of money, and then be just so fist tight to creating
Right.
an environment that could eventually benefit their kids, their grandkids, and their future grandkids. Right. So when you look at the system and you look at the whole thing, then that's when you realize, man, we're fighting against a tall battle. But you're not going to be able to fight it, not unless you're in it. But seeing it from the way the players don't get opportunity, no matter where you come from, what your background is, it's there. It's who you know. And that's basically what motivated me to say, you know what, we got to do something different, right? Someone
Yeah.
has to start it. someone has to put an effort to make a difference within the community and the society. So that's just it. And I'm open. We're the first of many that would also think in the same light and try to make a difference, not because they want to win a trophy on the field, but rather how many people can you influence, can you change their life?
And, I feel like we all, all growing up here in America, we all kind of felt that, being players, just the subtle racism, kind of like you said, it's not always out in your face, but now being in the system, you can be, a big part of changing that. And I think that's what your club and what you try to impart just on everybody. And Abdul definitely was one of the people that was just saying the club is run the right way. The club is run the right way. And just hearing you now, I can understand that the club is being run the right way. So it's cool to hear you say that. Absolutely.
Yeah. We have to give opportunity to ourselves, man, because if we don't, we can't expect anyone to do that. I mean, the head coach is 29 years old, practically the youngest head coach in the entire professional soccer landscape at this moment. Where is he going to get that opportunity from, if not from Maryland Bobcats? We have our general manager who's also in his early 30s, maybe 30 years old or 31. We have our technical director who's also maybe 29, 30 years old. So, we have our game day up person who's also in his 30s. We have amazing women like Anna also who helps us out. I mean, she's also below at 30s as well. So it's bigger than me as an individual. If you can empower people, like put them through in the right way, then the sky is the limit.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you're young yourself. You went to college. You're around my older brother's age, so you're right around 40, and you're president / owner of.
I'm actually 39.
Okay. Let me not put that 40 on. Let me not put. I try to do the math in my head.
Let them know.
I'm not book smart. But yeah, so you guys are doing very, very well in Sunday League. What prompted you to make that change to maybe we can do something more? You obviously had the talent from what I'm hearing. So what made you say let's make that next step, or what even prompted you to do that?
So for us, fast forward a couple of years later, we went to UMBC. We had some of our players. One of the guy that I really loved back then, we'll see him more as a younger brother, is Levi Wapu. He was drafted by Philadelphia Union and several other players as well. So fast forward, we started noticing that what really changed our mindset was there was a team locally who made it far in the US Open Cup. And there were 3 or 4 players on that team, and 3 or 4 players of that teams were black. I think I've told these stories in the past. They were black and minority folks, right? They made it now to go play DC United at the Soccerplex. And when it was time to play DC United, those 4 players who took them there were nowhere to be found leading up to the game in terms of the interview on ESPN, none of that. I don't know what happened. That was an eye-opener for us. And we made a decision collaboratively as a group of friends that, you know what, we need to do better. How about we create an organization for everyone? That's our motto, is for all. We don't judge them based on their skin, their language they speak. Your talents get you there, and we give you the opportunity. And that was the moment we said we need to create something different. And then we started with a different name when we had a partnership with another youth organization. We played, again, scaled up. We won the Maryland Majors that year. Then we also we had 2 teams who won the WPL as well in DC. And after that, we said, you know what, let's start building a brand for ourselves. That's when we made the switch to UPSL. We only played UPSL for 1 year and we won the national titles.
And that was 2019, right?
That was 2019, yeah. We played 1 year in the spring season. We made it to nationals quarterfinals, final 8. We lost to eventual champions, Florida Tropics.
Okay.
We came right back in the fall and won it all. 1 year in UPSL, and we won the national title. And we won it. We won it that year because we built ourselves a brand. And after that, we understood what our potential was because we knew what we wanted to do. And that's why we kept adding. And then, the professional league we playing reached out to us to join them. That's why we joined them and things like that. And since then, everything we've always done, there's always been a thought behind it. It hasn't been anything we just throw out there. We are so detailed, even as far as our jerseys are details. They mean something. They're not just your random jerseys that people put on. They mean something. Like our away jersey this year is paying homage to Maryland, but also our African background. That's what the sleeves is for. So we're very methodical in what we do as a club.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So I listened to the last podcast, and they brought up the jerseys, and so I went to your website and I looked at the jerseys. All three kits are
They're fire, bro. They're
all
fire.
three.
Fire.
All three. I thought it was just a little bit of gas, but I was like, no. And the thing is, they're affordable. They are affordable. I might have to put my name on one of those.
Yeah.
The away joint definitely goes crazy.
Yeah. Every single jersey we've won in our professional league, and these are 4 years, have been created by me. So we sit down, go into my bubble, and I just think about the thing in terms of what we want it to look like. And so it means something to us. It has a meaning to it. It has a meaning.
Okay, I have two questions. Well, the first one, I want to ask you about your first 11 that you guys fielded when you switched over to, Maryland Bobcats. What do you remember about that team?
First 11 as a professional club?
Yeah, as a professional club.
Okay, so after we won the UPSL Nationals, we thought we were ready to go pro. We played Chattanooga that year before we even played the following year at Chattanooga, and we beat them, and we thought we had arrived. I know we had Elton Joe up top.
Okay.
I know we had Willie Kapawa in the midfield. Our current coach, Alice Cow, has to be somewhere there. Richard Falker, MVP, has always been there from the day go.
Okay.
We had Kristen Kalka. We had Joel Isiak. We had K Banjo as the captain back then. Who else? Pilawe Pato in the midfield. Actually, amazing player. It was just unfortunate. We had Andy. We had Elminio. We have Dylan.
Okay.
Wow, I'm impressed. You remember
everybody.
I know Mike.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And trust me, man. I've built some kind of relationship with most of my players, and I still remember, if not all, majority of our players. Because we're just a special club. To be quite honest, we're different. We're different. Kingsley Onwuka was also on the team. So
how many nationalities?
Man, we're so diverse, man. We had players from Honduras. We had players from Nigeria. We had players from Togo. We had players from Cameroon. We had players.
No Ghana boys.
We used to have Danny Ankara. But
Okay,
after, he went with another team after we split. Ankara was also a very, very good player, a midfielder. Ghanaian. Yeah, but our second year, we picked up a Ghanaian goalie from Ghana. He played for Ashanti Kotoko.
Really?
Goalie Felix
Wow.
Annan. Yeah, Felix Annan in the second season. Yeah, second year. He was our starting goalkeeper that year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very good goalie. Very, very good goalkeeper.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. Take us through your mindset when you guys went through your undefeated season. As an owner sitting on the sideline, what is your mindset approaching each game? What are you thinking about? How are your nerves? How are your, how are you feeling? How's your whole body language each game?
So let me just be honest. I'm always scared to watch them play, and I'll just tell the truth. I don't go to the soccerplex like that. I'm always very careful because I feel like when I go, I jinx them. The last time I went there, they tied in the last minute 2-2 against Michigan Stars, the last kick of the game. Then I stopped going. But each time I haven't gone for the most part, they end up winning. So the nerve is there because again, you care about your club, right? You want them to succeed. You care about the players. You care about the management because you see the work that they put in all year round and every single day. So not that I didn't have confidence that they can play. We knew that once this club gels, it's going to be hard to stop them because this is the first year we build our modem on. Let's look at local talent, even if they're far away. We're DMV representing DMV. Can we get good players to come back home and play represent their own home club? So what we did once the season was over for the first time this year was we already have few experienced players on our team. Let's go pick up more experience. And that's what we did. And as you can see, the more they started playing together, they became unstoppable as a team. And this is the first year you look at that team, be like, even if they're down 2-0, they have the potential to come back. They can beat any team. And it's testament to exactly how they've gone over the course of the year, right? Scored the most points, the most goals in the league. Broke all record in this league history, right? Have the most points combined into the two conferences. Everything they've done is exceptional. And, kudos to the management and how they've actually worked. Because, again, you need the right management to be able to do the right thing. You can't provide a Ferrari to someone that doesn't know how to drive it or that's going to wreck it. So you have to know how to manage, the talent pool that you have as well.
So I'm actually I'm the one who was fortunate enough to bring Abdul on our podcast. I played with Abdul back in I played at Cleveland State for 4 years. So
okay.
I played against him in at NKU, and then we had the pleasure of playing with each other at Dayton Dutch Alliance for a summer as well.
Gotcha.
So Abdul is my guy, man. I've been talking to him. We've been cool for years. So I still follow him, and we still talk a lot. And I talk to Abdul. We don't talk every day, but at least once a month, twice a month. Twice every other month, we check in to see how he's doing. And I know he's been unfortunate with some injuries this year and that. Yeah. But over the past year and a half, I really seen Abdul just really going crazy on the coaching side, and just coaching the youth teams. I know he's done a lot of work, coaching the youth teams at Maryland Bobcats. So hearing you speak just about your club and how you want the club to move forward, I see it now. But I just kind of want you to touch on it. Kind of how did that philosophy come about? For you, and why is it so important for you to for your players to give back to your clubs? Because a lot of clubs, they don't encourage players to go coach. They don't have them coach youth teams. So to see your club do that, it speaks to your club doing it the right way. But I just kind of want you to touch on that aspect.
Yeah. So for us, the moment you walk into our club, we're not thinking about you as just a player to play for us and move on. We care more than that. So what is your life after you stop? You finish playing? What do you want for yourself? We care about you after you're done playing soccer, right? So we would help you with your coaching licenses. We would help you to get that. Start coaching the youth team. Start coaching the youth system. Because that's how we also give back. Right. That's a way of us giving back to you. Most clubs would just say, no, come play for us. And after that, bye after 10 months. That's not what we're all about. We want to talk to you as a person. We want to treat you as a person. And it's not just you come, you play soccer, and you go home, right? Some players don't behave themselves or they don't want to have it. But we're more than just that. We care about you on and off the field. How can we help you? How can we make sure your life is better? We have players who didn't have papers after playing in another league for years. We've helped them secure their papers internally on our own terms, right? So that's just who we are. And I've always relayed back to my story in terms of, I used to walk the street of Lagos barefooted. What if God didn't have mercy on me?
Yeah.
So what is the point if I see a brother who needs a helping hand? Why wouldn't I help that individual? And I can help guide you to make sure you don't make the same mistakes that I've made in the past. So that's just how we are overall as a club.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely resonate with that. We're all Africans, we've all been helped in some type of way. You know what I mean? So, even for me, when I was growing up, one of my mentors, he had a painting in his office, and it was a black man, and he was reaching one arm forward and one arm back, to help the ones that come after you, but also, giving game to the ones before you. So yeah, no, it's really dope to hear that and see that, and it definitely feeds into your team, your team motto, which is for all. And it definitely feeds into that. And I kind of want to just touch on that as well. For all, and I know you kind of touched on, but what does it mean for you? And then also, how does it feed into, like the day-to-day operations? How do you instill that within your players, within your club, everyone that you bring in, your staff, how do you feed that into them every single day in the day-to-day?
So I don't micromanage. I feel
Okay,
like
I like that. Yeah.
I like to let them grow on their own and also learn, right? Because if they don't learn, if I'm on top of them 24/7, they don't learn. They don't know what real life is all about. We've had a conversation. You trust me, I trust you, and I trust you to do your job. Just that simple. For us, simply means we are for every single person. We don't discriminate. We don't care what your skin tone is, what your color is, what you speak. We don't care. We're for every single person that walks through our door, and we're going to provide the best service to every single person, regardless of what your background is. That's
Yeah.
what that simply means.
Absolutely. No, I see it, where I was, of course, doing my homework as well, and just looking at your staff. I mean, it was cool to see Abdul's. It's cool to see Abdul's name on the staff. I was like, okay, my boy got that coaching
you
credit.
got that marketing, you got that marketing under his name.
I like seeing Abdul's
Yeah.
name there, but no, 100%. You have people from France, you have people Africans, people from the States. It's really
Correct.
really cool to see that in the room, and diversity and inclusion is I feel like when that's included in the club and instilled in the club, I feel like that speaks a lot to the leader, and that it shows that the leader is really not only inclusive, but just he has a different mindset and different approach to things. And a lot of staffs that we see today that are successful have a lot of diversity and inclusion in their staff. They have people from all over the world helping them to achieve and reach one goal. So no, that's really cool to see. I kind of want to touch on Sam Okpodu. You brought him to the club for a little bit of time, but I know he did he was managing the Nigerian national team for a bit. Speaking to, of course, diversity and inclusion, kind of how did that come about, and how were you able to bring that type of major figure into the club?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Sam is a very respectable person, right? And he's an amazing guy. But unfortunately, what happened, right? And like I told him, I wish we had gotten to know each other a lot more. At that point, when you're coming into a new league and you're still trying to get things situated, you're going to deal with a lot of not so good individuals or people who don't have the best interest of the club at heart. On the earlier on stage, we just had people who just wanted to take from the well, but not necessarily leave a legacy behind for the future generation. So we struggled with that for 2 years. And Coach Sam, that it wasn't his fault at all, because he really, really did try to warn me, especially about a lot of things. But unfortunately, at that moment, I just wasn't really, really as involved or ready to actually listen to what he has to say. But after we passed that stage, I think the last 2 years, because we've had the right personnel who really care and understood what the goal is, that's why there's such a sudden change in what you guys are seeing within the club now. But Sam, because Sam is an amazing person, his resume speaks for itself.
Yeah.
He's a very good person. He's someone I was still called today to seek advice from, but he's a genuinely good person. Good person. It's just an unfortunate thing that we had to part ways very earlier on, but it's got nothing to do with him.
Absolutely. And that resume definitely speaks for itself. Kind of speaking to the club and to the fit in the club, when you're bringing new staff in, when you're bringing new players in, I always think this is very interesting, especially from we as a podcast, we speak to a lot of players. But this is the first time we've actually gotten to speak to someone on the business aspect of
the
things,
other
you know,
end,
and it's really cool to see your insight because, you know, the manager will always want, you know, certain type of players and, oh, I want to bring this guy in and that guy in. But for you, you know, you have a different perspective on it beyond the field. You know, there's a business aspect to it. So beyond kind of just the business aspect, you know, what do you look for within a player when you say, you know, the for all and, you know, your vision where you want to see the club when you're bringing new staff, new players? What are characteristics that you're looking for that they need to have before, you know, they can be a part of the Maryland Bobcats?
So the general manager and the technical director and the head coach, they all understand that the culture that we've built internally is key.
Mm-hmm.
And before we even go after any player, we've done our internal research, which is what we didn't do 4 years ago, right? We started doing those things literally 2 years ago now, like last year, right before we started. And kudos to the general manager, Mo, the head coach, Alex, and the team technical director, and Anthony. They've created a very good culture within the club. So they would do their research on a player, no matter how talented you are. They will interview you and see and feel you out first to see if you're someone they want to bring into the culture they're trying to build, right?
Okay.
For us, humility is first.
Mm-hmm.
Being humble, being able to understand what we stand for as a club, right? Those three things are very, very important to us before we then move forward and say, hey, we need to sign you. They've reached out to their previous coaches. They've, you know, called all the teammates as well that they might know. The soccer world is big, but it's also a small and compact community as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So beforehand, they now have a conversation and say, "Oh, this person is ready to go." But after putting those things in place, we haven't had any issues. And when there's issues internally, they know how to deal with it. There's, you know, consequences. The rules and regulations are very straightforward, and we respect the players, so they have no other choice but to respect the rules and things that have been set forth. You can't hold the player accountable if you yourself are not leading by example.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Completely agree with that.
Sorry, Salam, I know you about to hop in, but I kind of have a follow-up question for that because that just made me think. I mean, you guys also have an academy, correct?
Correct.
So are these things that you're looking for in potential players as well? Or, you know, how are you judging the players that come through, or how are you imparting this humility, this, you know, this group focus on these kids that you're teaching from a young age?
So the first thing first is our culture is no matter where you play, even if you're from our academy, we pray. So everyone come into a circle and pray before and after every single time.
That.
During practice, after practice. It's our culture. It's done all across the board. And academies, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of implement because these are parents, right? The kids are parents, so they have their own structures. But they look at their coaches. The coaches, most of the time, are also the professional players on the field that they can cheer up. So they're also looking at them. A perfect example this year is we play in the cup, which is the Independence Cup that we played with the league. We played, most of the people that played on that team were bench players who wanted to give minutes and also academy kids.
Okay.
We had a 16, 17-year-old kids, and guess what? They won it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember Abdul talking about that. Yeah.
They won it all. So they played against grown men, all these, you know, teams that entered the tournament as well, you know, Independence Cup, they won it at 16. So it's because the discipline has been there from that bottom up, pretty much. But one thing that we've instilled, like I said, is prayer. And I think each coach is also, which Alex is the president, also the president of the youth academy, he's been able to tell each coach is also what to do within those teams as well.
I can tell those values definitely go a long way because it shows, you know, within the first team and you know, speaks to the, you know, the talent and the character that you guys have and the academy as well too, for them to accomplish what they accomplished. So big shouts out to the academy and the coaches that you have. But Jay, I just obviously we got unfortunate news today about, you know, the club not being able to participate in the postseason and the playoffs. Tough day for you, I can imagine. Tough day for us as fans as well too. I would love to just kind of get your perspective on the decision.
Yeah, for us, man. I mean, it's a tough day for the players, for the staff, right? Uh, they've basically played, all season. We've basically done everything we're supposed to do. We're the only club that's played every single game in this league. We've met all of our on-field obligations, right? We've gone to Michigan, we've gone to Georgia, we've gone to Savannah. We've never forfeited any game. As a matter of fact, the last game of the season we're supposed to host for our youth academy night, the team from Florida decided they're not coming because it's not worth them coming to the game, right? So we've earned 47 points on the field in 18 games. We've received that's 26 points more than the second place team behind us, right? Even though the second place team got 6 free games forfeit from other clubs, but playing on the field they only earned 21 or 22 points. We earned 47 playing on the field. 47 playing on the field. So it's ridiculous if you think like a club like this did anything wrong. Why would you let them play the entire season?
Right.
Why? Why would you let them play the entire season? And then you waited for postseason, and that's when you come out and say, oh, somehow they wouldn't play because ABC. If you guys know anything about Nisa, you should do your investigation on them in terms of what kind of league they are. For us, we're disappointed. The things that was dropped was actually surprising to us, and I feel really, really hurt for the players. Nothing they said on that thing it's not true. It's a lie. And there's more complex, context to what is being discussed and what is being released.
Sure.
Because any logical person, this is the best team in your league, on and off the field,
by far.
Yeah.
and you get them kicked out of the playoffs because of some bogus claims that you're putting up. Doesn't make sense. Something just smells foul. But again, the club won the regular season championship.
Okay.
They earned that regular season championship. They had the best record in the East, the best record in the entire league.
In the league, yep.
They were scheduled to host their first ever playoff game this Saturday, which they told us to reserve the field for.
Wow.
And if they win, they would be the first club to host, I believe, a professional championship, soccer championship in the state of Maryland.
Wow.
So it's sad. It's a sad day for the club. It's a sad day for the staff. And we're still working through it internally. And we're still trying to see what steps we need to take as a club. But I'm proud of what they've accomplished this season. It's clear to the world who the best club is. And if that club is not playing in the playoffs, then the playoffs is not earned a merit. It's a waste of a tournament from my own perspective.
100%. No, and I mean, obviously the news is very unfortunate. You guys, from just following you guys, I mean, you guys are head and shoulders the best team in the league by far. So for the fact that this is happening is obviously unfortunate, and I'm sorry for you guys, the players, everybody involved, and that's terrible news. I do have some rapid fire questions though for you. What are your goals for the Maryland Bobcats over the next 5 years, both competitively and in terms of community impact?
For us, we want to be a club that is for everyone, right? Whereby no matter where your biographical where your background is from, what kind of social class, economic status you're in, we want to be a home for every kid. First of all, we want to be a home also for every adult who wants to see soccer thrive in the U.S. because we believe we're that perfect story within the U.S. soccer landscape of a club who basically started from the bottom and gradually with integrity and holding up to their own honesty, building themselves up brick by brick to get to where they got to. And we want to continue to build in the right direction. And we want to be there for our community. We want to go shoulder to shoulder with every single person. If they're suffering, if they're in the moment of happiness, we want to be that club that will continue to give back to people within where we are. So, our goal is to remain strong in the community. Our goal is to remain focused to do the community outreach, to community impact as a club that we are already doing. That's just our future. We want to be there so that other clubs can also dream. We want to be there so that other people can also dream about all the coaches that, hey, I couldn't do it before, but because that coach can do it, maybe I have a chance as well. We want to be that club that people can look at and say, you know what, we can do it too. We can get there as well. And we can't do it if we're not around. We have to continue to motivate people, by us being around, by us showing our face within our community continuously.
If you don't mind me asking him a quick question before we move on. After hearing everything you just said, it kind of annoys me that you guys have to, deal with this playoff issue thing. Do you see this, interfering with your plans at all for the future?
No, because the goal is if we've done anything wrong, then we will be concerned, but we've done nothing wrong. So we have nothing to worry about from our own perspective. So we are a very integrity club, right? We hold on there to ourselves. And as long as our players are paid, which there's no one player that can say that we've not fulfilled their obligations. As a matter of fact, we could have been like any of those other clubs, right? By saying, okay, they kicked us out of the playoffs, the game is over, bye everyone. No, we're still going to honor our contractual agreement to our players. We still have up until November to pay our players. Most of these clubs give their players maybe 7 months contract. Some of them pay their players $100 per month, right? Some of them pay them nothing. So, but we sign our players on a 10-month contract, and we will still honor those contracts. So that's just who we are as a club. So we're not worried about what anyone has to say. We're not worried about the kind of bad image that they're trying to portray, because we're just way ahead of them as a league as well, right? Because our reputation is not even on the same level as their reputation. So that's just the honest opinion from our own perspective. So we're not worried. We're not concerned. We're just hoping and praying for the best. That's just our hope.
Do you guys have a chance to appeal, at least? Or they're not giving you a chance to appeal?
You can appeal if you're dealing with reasonable people. These people are unreal. You can't reason with them. That's just the honest truth. Because if they're reasonable people, think about it, man. Like I said, you can't kick out the best team in the league. It just doesn't make sense. So that tells me, it says everything you need to know about them, and that's just the honest truth about it. They don't think like us. They don't think like people who are reasonable. That's just the facts.
And just so like the people know, what were the exact charges that are they charges? Are they like what exactly, like, the consequences that they're giving you currently?
So, the reason the statement they said not upholding, I can't remember verbatim what that is. Not upholding, following Nisa, whatever their league rules, and not following U.S. soccer regulations and things like that. So it's vague information.
It's very vague.
So you need to release those sentences. What exactly are those things, so that we can come out and debunk and tell you exactly our own side of the story.
They'll probably release it Sunday after the game.
After the play.
Again, like I said, the playoffs doesn't count anymore from our own perspective. So whoever wants to play the playoffs, they can play the playoffs. That's up to them. And it's also against sporting integrity. That's just a fact. That's what U.S. soccer stands for. It's against sporting integrity. So if you didn't want this team to play, they broke U.S. soccer rules and they did this. Did they just do that? Or has that been something all season? So there's more to the story. There's more to the story. And then are the rules also being applied all across the board?
Right, 100%. Yeah,
100%.
So are you telling me certain clubs in the league are operated better than the Bobcats? So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
again, this is a club that never forfeited any game. We've hosted every single team that come to play us at the Soccerplex. We've done everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope you guys are able to appeal it and
Yeah,
something
that's
before
tough to hear.
Saturday, man. It's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's so
I
tough.
think this is a pivotal part of your, the history of your club. You're
Mm.
gonna look back one day, and this will be part of your story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But to kind of get away from that, though,
Mhm.
what has been your proudest achievement since becoming president of the Maryland Bobcats, both in terms of the club's growth and your personal career?
Man, we've been through a lot as a club.
Mhm.
For me, my proudest moment is Alex Cow. I see him more as a
Mm.
younger brother. Uh, and to see how far he's come and to see how well he's doing, I'm proud to, see a 29-year-old,
Mhm.
you know, young black male getting his USSFA license at
Yeah,
Mm.
29.
I just saw that on the page.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my proudest moment as a club president, to see Mr. Mo, to see Mr. Anthony, to see these guys realize their dreams, in terms of them wanting to work in a soccer management one day, and to
Mhm.
actually see them put the papers and put things to work. These are guys that will sacrifice and go above and beyond for this organization. It's impressive. So that's my proudest moment, that, there are people working just as hard as me.
Mm.
And these are younger guys than me. So to me, I think I've done a whole lot of good to the society, to the humanity, because now fellow younger generations can look at those three and say, you know what, I want to be like Coach Alex Cow. I want to be like
Yeah.
Mr. Mo. I want to be like Mr. Anthony. If they can do it, I can do it too. That brings me so much joy. And those are my proudest moments, to be quite
Yeah.
honest.
No, that's
Amazing.
huge, man. That's really
Love
impactful.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That representation matters, man, especially for kids, this next generation, especially as the sport in America is growing too. So I think people who look like us, seeing people like yourself in the positions that you're in, it truly is inspiring. Um, so thank you for sharing that. I just have two more questions for you. The my last question before we get into your beloved Chelsea Football Club, because I have a question to ask you about Chelsea Football Club.
Got a couple.
Um, this season you signed Bill Hamid, goalkeeper, long time goalkeeper for DC United from Sierra Leone. Um, for me, growing up, probably the first like black keeper that I've seen in the MLS, and he's been a mainstay for a very long time. Um, talk about his impact and like what his experience and leadership has been like this season.
Man, amazing, man. Amazing. Because when you're going into that postseason, you want someone who's proven, who has done it before at the highest level.
True.
He's been an amazing person. He's been an amazing guy to have on the squad. He talks, he communicates, very gentle, very respectful, and it's amazing to see him. That's someone who has played at such a high level, very level-headed. It's unbelievable to see. He's been an amazing talent, man, and we're blessed to have someone like that in our corner, and he shows it on and off the field.
Yeah,
Mm.
100%, man, 100%.
Absolutely.
Chelsea Football Club. So I listened to your podcast. We all did. And you're on the Maryland Bobcats. This was at the beginning of the season, so this was August, and you were talking about just kind of the state of the team at the current moment. You guys have had a pretty busy summer, I would say.
I mean, less busy than before.
Yeah. Less busy.
Yeah.
Outgoings are just important as the incomings. Um, but yeah, just kind of like from where you were in August to where you are now, because I remember listening to you back then. It was kind of like there was a lot of kind of things up in the air, but one of the things that you did say was you do have belief that Maresca kind of has
Manager.
an idea of
Mhm.
what he wants to do, and could potentially, take this team forward. So, what are your thoughts on Chelsea currently?
First of all, thanks on Sancho. We're very grateful.
Right? That was sweet. Sancho for Mount. I'll do that anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks for Sancho. Honestly, man, you just need a coach who has an identity. I felt like last year, Pochettino, for him, he just wants runners, not really about tactics. It doesn't understand. It reminds me so much of a college coach who would tell you have to run 2 miles under 12 minutes. That's his mindset as a coach. So and then they look at soccer players who can actually play. In Africa, they don't tell us you have to run 2 miles under 12 minutes. That qualifies you, and now you get on the team. I didn't understand that logic until I got to this country. I'm like, what the heck?
It still doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So because you can run all day, does that mean you have the ball sense? So I felt like Maresca has an identity. He knows how he wants to play, and he's only going to get the best out of the players. Whereas that's where Chelsea, I believe, has been lacking. It's not based on talent. These players are young, yes, they're coachable. But if you put them in the right places to excel, and then you have to also protect them in a very smart way. You have to instill confidence in them. You don't go out as a coach and tell, oh, we're young, I don't expect anything from them. Or you don't play Disasi at the center back, and Disasi F's up on a consistent basis, and the next time you still have Disasi and center back, right? Maresca, on the other hand, if Disasi F's up on the right back, he subs him off. You know what he wants as an identity. I mean, I saw what he did a couple of days ago. He told them straight up, hey, we're a young team, but I believe in you. And you can see the identity. Also look at the injury records as well. It's been less injury this season compared to last year, because that guy on the other end was having them run like freaking horses in practice. So
definitely.
I can tell you were the type of player you didn't like to run.
No, it's not. Sometimes you don't really. Yes, you can run and get feet, but it's not all about that, right? I mean, Enzo is not a runner. That's not his job.
Yeah,
Enzo is not your Gallagher who runs nonstop. But if you compare Enzo's IQ to Gallagher's IQ, come on, man. They're not the same. But a Poch will play a Gallagher before he probably plays an Enzo, or he play Enzo out of place. The only reason why he got saved last year is because Palmer was amazing.
Yeah.
But imagine you put Palmer with a better coach, just like you're seeing now. He might not have to deliver a ridiculous amount of goals like he did last year, but the overall total package of the team is better. So I think Maresca is a better coach than Poch. Absolutely. I'm not saying Chelsea is going to challenge for the title. I'm not saying Chelsea is going to make top 4, but I believe they're going to do better than they did last year. I believe they're going to push for it, and I believe they're going to do better than next year. But I'm not saying they will, because I still feel like they would address the center back situation next summer. I do feel they will address the goalkeeper situation next summer. And don't forget, they got 2 of the best South American players coming to join in the summer. Kendrick and Estevao. Those 2 players are amazing. So, I mean, it's better than Anthony, 100 million. And then you got rid of Sancho just because of some bald head ego. So, I just don't know, man. Chelsea is in a better direction from my perspective than Manchester United, to be quite honest.
Okay, that's fair.
I can agree with that, man, because honestly...
Great analysis.
Because
he's good at his job.
100%. Because what we've seen, in the Prem now is we have 2 Pep kids, right? And Arteta, we have Maresca now. And what I'm seeing in Maresca is, honestly, I wish I would have seen it in Arteta earlier. Like Maresca is, and I feel like Maresca had the squad. Like Maresca walked into a squad of players that he can immediately.
But he was also underestimated, though. One thing I see in
that's true.
Arteta,
I agree.
One thing I see in Arteta also right now is that, yes, he learned from Pep, but he's also now changing his identity, if you notice. So he's no longer playing like Pep. Arteta is now playing more defensive football, right? Because his backline is so solid. that he only wants to. He doesn't play I think the first couple of years he's realized beautiful football. You're not Pep. You're not City.
Yeah.
So he's realizing it. We're just going to grind things out. And that might be the good way for them to win the league. Even though I don't like it. I don't want Arsenal to win it. But with the way they're playing this season, it has changed his identity completely. And that might just be what's going to tip them off to be able to win it. Because he's focused more. I don't need no forwards. I don't want to be a Pep. I want to grind it out and I want to win ugly. That's what you get from Conte and that's what you get from Mourinho. You don't get pretty football. And I think he might just do it. Yes, he might just do it this year because he's completely switched. Maresca on the other end, he's identical to Pep.
Yeah.
And it's scary to what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, it's scary.
He's identical to the details that he focuses on. And that's what makes it scary. If you give a Maresca a solid center back and a solid goalkeeper, which they will give him next summer, it's a wrap. That's what I'm noticing. And it's a good thing. It's a good pickup that Chelsea found him because I heard Man U was also after him as well.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact. But he had already committed to Chelsea. That's the reason why you guys didn't go for him because it took you guys a long time to even decide to sign Ten Hag on a long time. I think your squad is better suited for Tuchel. If I'm being honest.
Thank you.
I think Man U squad is better suited for Tuchel.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
The structure and the caliber of kind of players you guys have, Tuchel will get the best out of those players. I'm being honest.
Ten Hag.
Yes, Ten Hag is just a bald, arrogant guy. I'm sorry. I watch Man U and it's actually sad to see. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It is.
What is the difference between your right back that you had in the past and the one you went to go pick up right now? You don't need the Moroccan kid in the right back.
You don't think he's been good?
I don't think he's that much. What's his name? Luke Shaw is better.
Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw is better. I would move the other guy, Delort, to the right back position. That wasn't your position of need. Yeah, that wasn't your position of need. Ugarte. Why did Chelsea pull out of Ugarte deal? You guys thought you were getting a Caicedo? Or you thought you were getting a Rice? Why do you think the guy said, yo, FPSG, I'm dropping it. I'm coming to Man U. Wow. Your team is I'm serious. And then you pay 50 million for Onana?
Yeah. Come on,
did you
speak about it.
Center back?
You see what we said? We sound crazy.
Oh my god.
My keeper.
Yeah, but we said
that's my keeper.
No, I'm serious. Rashford that you're looking at, Rashford is not a bad player. He's not. If you take that Rashford boy and put him in a Chelsea or City, you'll get a completely different player. Sancho right now, 3 games, 3 assists. Why? Why is he having the best time of his life right at this moment?
They don't want to hear.
Even when he was at Dortmund,
it's a London team, man.
Why? Something is completely off. I'm telling you, man. I think you guys need to get a new coach because the guy's ego is too big. First of all, I mean, you're fighting with Ronaldo. You're fighting with Ronaldo. Look at the pattern. For me, Sancho was your best winger. Hands down. And some of the wingers, some players, you have to pamper them a little. Not every glove is going to work for every player.
Exactly.
You have to. And the guy that works for the guy that worked for Chelsea right now that used to be with City, I can't remember his name. Joe Shields. Pay attention to Joe Shields. He's responsible for Latvia. He's responsible for Sancho. He's responsible for Cole Palmer. How does Chelsea sell Mason Mount for 55? Average for 65 and got Palmer for 40.
You guys do very good business. You guys do exceptional business.
And the guy bench slapped both of them.
But you don't think that Sancho and I'm a big fan of Sancho. You can ask them. When he came, I thought Rashford and Sancho, this is it. But last season, the season before he went on loan to Dortmund, he needed a whole preseason in the middle of the season because he just wasn't at the level that he needed to be. So at some point, there has to be a level of accountability on both the player. The manager is not perfect. He has shown that when it comes to bigger personalities, I would say he has a rough time managing that. But there has to be some accountability on both sides.
I'm not blaming Sancho, but there's a
Yeah.
reason why you guys went all in for Sancho. You beat all the clubs to get
100%.
Sancho. Chelsea wanted him at that point too, and you paid
Yeah.
a big amount of money for Sancho, and he's still a young kid.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we forget how young these kids are, right? Because we think they've been playing for quite some time. So one shoe size fit every single situation. You know you get the best out of a player like Sancho if you pamper him a little bit. Not that he's not going to be in shape. There was more to do with he's not feeling loved from the manager.
100%.
Something else was going on. So that's why he wasn't giving his best, right? Because it's weird that Sancho was signed on deadline day to Chelsea and in 3 games he's had 3 assists.
I told you so.
So that means
I
to
told
me, there's more going on than wasn't being talked about. It's not like the talent wasn't there. The talent is there.
Yeah, 100%.
So what needs to happen? Sometimes you have to. I mean, are you telling me Alex Ferguson at some point didn't coddle Cristiano Ronaldo at some point?
Of course.
Because he wants to win games. Are we saying all these coaches, Pep didn't coddle Messi when he needed to win several Champions League with Barcelona? Are we saying Pep is not coddling someone like De Bruyne rather than Simone? So there's some players that you have to coddle, and it's part of man management. It's part of your man management skills. You're no longer in Ajax. You're now in one of the biggest clubs in the world. So you got to lower your ego and understand that the result matters, and you need most of your best players to perform. I just don't think, like you said, his ego is so much bigger than the players that he feels like he's the best thing in the room. And every single thing he goes for, why does he have to be Dutch players? Is he infatuated with
have
Dutch
you
players
noticed?
or something?
He's just gone back to buy the old
It's
players
just
he
Dutch
coached.
players. Like, it
All the
doesn't
players
make
he
any
got.
sense.
And free Donny. Donny went on and scored today in the Champions League. I don't know if you saw that. But...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did.
So,
Yeah, it's our environment. There's clearly something wrong with our environment.
No,
Yeah.
it's the culture and the environment, because I mean, there's no reason that players, they're I mean, I won't say world class, but there are great players that come to United and then automatically don't do well. And there are young players that come to United, experienced or not. Experienced players go, don't do well. Young players go, they don't do well, and then they leave. And then it's like kind of instantly the culture's different, and they like it, and it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit easier, you know, and it's better to it speaks to even to, you know, to your club, Maryland Bobcats. Your culture is right. When Abdul said, no, the culture of this club is where we want it to be, and where I would want to be, and why I came to the club. It speaks to the club, and that makes people want to stay. That makes people want to perform better and play for the badge, because they not only do they like playing who they're playing with, but the culture and everyone in the room, the physios, you know, assistant coaches, everyone, teammates, all fit the culture, and it's all great. So it has to be, you know, something with the culture that is, I don't know, it just doesn't work.
Well, shit, Jay, we need you. I don't know.
No, for real.
I don't know if you're willing to relocate to Manny, but we need you. So, Melissa, man, do you guys have any follow-up, last questions, man?
Your favorite all-time five-a-side Chelsea players?
Drogba, Makalele,
Okay.
check and go, Lampard, Terry.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, I would say pair with Terry. I would say Carvalho.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
So is it
I'm fine
check,
with that.
Terry, Carvalho, Lampard,
Lampard.
Drogba.
Correct.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm not mad.
You guys are not conceding.
Yeah.
No way.
Now we know
No
for a
way.
fact.
No way.
And then just for me, I always like to ask, like, what was that moment that made you a Chelsea fan? Because, you know, you're right around the same age as John Obi Mikel. So
You kind of age him, Cornelius.
I know.
I said right around.
Honestly, I would
because
say
I'm thinking of players.
I would
bro.
say
I'm thinking of
I would
players.
say I would say right after they signed Drogba from myself.
Okay.
Yeah, me
Yeah, I would
too.
say right
Me
after
too.
they signed Drogba, I think that changed completely, honestly, because it was a completely different club at that point in time. We can say Celestin Babayaro also played for them as well,
Yeah,
the left
Nigeria.
back from Nigeria,
Yeah.
But I think right after they signed Drogba, it was a different ball game for me at that moment because there was just something about Drogba that just brings like this man is different.
Yeah.
I just thought of one. Go ahead, Gabriel.
Oh yeah. Before you go, Salam, you can close this out. One question for me is, Nigerian ball. Where do you see the Nigerian national team moving forward? Because I feel like as Africans,
That's a good one.
we always
That is a
root
good
for our African nations. Every time,
Mhm.
we always watch AFCON, but even in the World Cup, we always root for our African nations. And I feel like as of recent, this Nigerian team, I feel like on paper has the squad, but we haven't seen it on the pitch. So I just kind of want to just get your insight from like your
I'll give them one
presence.
advice. They need to go pick, just like Ghana chooses their head coach. They went to Dortmund and they chose the assistant of that. And I don't understand why Ghanaian. I don't know. I think all Africans, something is wrong with their head.
Yeah.
Why they would get rid of that guy when he's already put a platform in place. I mean, he's a young coach. He accepted the job even after he has a better job in Dortmund. I think they need a better coach. That's just the honest truth. Corruption is a big deal over there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to get a coach who actually is going to play the best players, not based on where you play, what money you're giving them, and things like that. I think that's the biggest problem African countries has. But the talent, I mean, you can't question the talent. But again, you can give them a Ferrari or Lambo, but if you give it to a bush person and they don't know how to drive it, they're gonna crash the car. Right? So African has the talent, we have the potential, but we need to get the right person to lead those teams.
Yeah, my question is similar to Gabriel's. It has more to do with your guys' strikers. You guys have an abundance of strikers, man. You guys have Osimhen, Boniface, and I'm blanking on the guy is Nottingham Forest. Well, I mean Lookman too.
Taiwo.
Yeah. Like you have three like bona fide strikers. So like obviously probably all three of them can't play.
Yeah.
Especially with like Lookman,
correct.
Continue. So how do you think that there's a situation where they both could play? Like how do you see like that attack shaping out? Because you guys probably have the best attack in Africa.
Unless you go 4-4-2, you can play Boniface and Victor up top. You can play those two up top if you go 4-4-2, and they can complement each other well because Boniface is a little faster than Victor. Yeah. He can always be a creator for them, and then Victor can just finish anyhow. So I think you can play Boniface and Victor up top, to be quite honest, because you have fast-paced wingers like Lookman who can create chances for these as well. And those crosses will be a problem for any team.
Yeah.
100. He scored today too. So
yeah.
he's continues to do well. But listen, Jay, thank you so much for giving us your time, man. We really enjoyed learning about you and your impact on the club. It's really refreshing, especially just to see, an African president. And just knowing how in the USA, soccer more or less is about the bottom dollar, the bottom line, which is making money. But your values and the things that you instill in your staff and in the players clearly shows, man, and it's it's going a long way. It's your guys' success is clear evidence of that. So it's been great learning about you, man, and we really wish you nothing but continued success in the future.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you guys so much, man. I'm proud of the work you guys are doing too, man. I mean, we all need it. Thank you guys so much. Very grateful for having me on your podcast.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much.